Empowered family, here we are again, another Empowered Athlete Player of the Week. This week we actually want to showcase one of our coaches who's also a player now in the former column, as he just finished up an amazing career at Purdue Fort Wayne. Ended up ending the career number 8 in kills overall. Top 50 students, only 3 of those were athletes, and you were one of the 3. So many accolades, but let's start with finishing up college, All-American honors throughout your career. We can get into all of that, but let's talk about you got to sign a contract already, 5 weeks out of school, already getting ready to pack your bags and leave for Greece here soon. Tell me a little bit about your opportunity overseas.
Well, so five weeks sounds like a short time, but every single day it was rough not knowing what was going to happen, you know. And immediately after I got those 2 offers, I got one in Portugal and then this one in Greece. I had to take it because it was just an opportunity that could go away the next day, very next day. There's a lot of players overseas that are looking for jobs, a lot of South American players that are also flying their country, from Brazil, from Argentina. So me being from Puerto Rico was hard to market myself, comparing myself to like Argentinians or Brazilians or maybe even Europeans that are cheaper for them to acquire, you know. So yeah, 5 weeks sounds like a short time, but for me it felt like 5 months. Right after my last collegiate match, I signed with an agent, and she started looking for teams for me to go play. And it took us five weeks, but we got it done, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's not only is it an amazing opportunity, but I'm sure it's a little relief for you. I mean, I know you have some opportunities with the national team in Puerto Rico, but knowing, hey, I have a career coming right out of college and graduating, that's got to be a great relief. And so let's talk about, you know, you're getting ready to go down to a little training with the national team. Tell me a little bit about your national team experience, and then we can talk about your father a little bit as well.
Sure. So after my freshman year here at Purdue Fort Wayne, I got called up to the national team just to go practice and see how I bonded with the guys and whatnot. They were great. I learned so much. Those were my childhood heroes. So I grew up watching them, and just being able to share the court with them was amazing. And then we had the Pan American Cup after a couple weeks of training. The GM calls me and he's like, hey, you know what? We didn't expect you to be coming with us to this tournament, but you are. So they called me out to the national team and went to Canada. Ended up getting 2nd place in the Pan American Cup. And honestly, I didn't get to play much, but just the experience to go and playing and practicing and interacting with the guys was amazing. So that was my start. I've been with the team now. This is going to be my 4th year, so almost a full cycle. And I've had some incredible experiences. I went to the Pan American Games 2 years ago, went to the Olympic qualification in Bulgaria right after that, those games. So it's been great. I mean, I think it's been complementing my game amazingly. Obviously, I get the chance to play both, or I got the chance to play both in college and the national team. So doing both things kept me in rhythm, gave me a lot of experience, maturity, all those things that have prepared me now to go play professionally overseas.
Yeah, not only prepare you to have an amazing playing career, but as you've gotten into some coaching here with our 16 Elite Red team, being able to take everything that you've learned over those years, and then even like your father, I'm sure with his playing experience, you know, helped shape and mold you as you grew, you know, to become the player that you are. You know, tell me first about your, you know, kind of about your father, and then we'll talk a little bit about how that's transitioned into coaching and now you giving back to the next generation.
So I picked up a ball when I was like 8 years old, around that age. My dad and my mom never pushed me to play any sports or volleyball in general, but they always wanted me to stay active and stuff. Naturally, everyone asked me, did you try any other sports? I was like, yeah, I tried baseball, basketball, soccer, but I ended up going back to my roots and what my dad did. And I think it was more the example of all the things he had accomplished and all the friendships he had and all those things that made me want to go towards that path. Ever since that day, I just fell in love with the sport. And then actually, you're talking about the coaching side of it, he's been teaching kids since I can remember. And he doesn't coach as a coach in a team, he just teaches them clinics. He loves it. So part of that philosophy that I've brought here has been from him. The drills, the communication, the energy, all those things that I try to portray to the kids here. has been from him, because I've seen that example of him teaching and also from playing, like we talked a little bit about before in film.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me and my older sister, you know, we both played in college and we're blessed to play professionally. And for us, it was my mother. You know, my mother really loved volleyball and grew up playing and coached, you know, in high school, and had an uncle, and even my father played for a brief time. And so it was just one of those things you grow up around, and something you love doing with the family. And volleyball is a great family sport. You can go spend a weekend on the beach playing beach volleyball with the family, or you can go, you know, spend time in the gym at the local YMCA playing recreationally, or, you know, travel and in competition. So it's great to be able to really bond, you know, with your family.
Yeah, and another thing is that my mom is a college professor, so we've always been around the teaching aspect of the things. So I just wanted to say that the same way I am passionate for the game, playing it, I was coaching it here. I just love being able to talk to the kids and interact with them and feel how they felt, because I've been there. And just that communication between the student and the teacher, and seeing that change after you talk to them and communicate with them.
Well, yeah, and I think you have the right aspect. If you can combine the teaching with the actual knowledge and experience of the game, that's where you become a great coach. Because as we've all seen, there's been some amazing, phenomenal players that aren't very good coaches. And then there's some good coaches that haven't had a lot of playing experience, but are really good teachers and explaining. But I truly believe in any sport, to be the best, you have to be able to have a good balance of teaching and that experience and knowledge to relate to the kids. And I guess, tell me, how has it helped your game even? Have you found, you know, now that you're coaching and teaching the skills, that it's actually helped you like be more mentally sharp, be better with your passing? Have you noticed it in your own game?
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially when you teach something, you have to master it, right? So every time, for example, I was talking to the girls about passing and all those things, those are things that stay in your head. And now when I go back to practice, I'm like, oh, well, I didn't get my hips under the ball, I didn't move my feet, I crossed my feet. All those things stay in your head, and if you want to teach something, you have to know how to do it. It's not only like, oh, Will told me how it's done, so I'll just pass it on and try and figure it out from there. No, you got to know what you're talking about. So yeah, definitely. And I talk a lot about the mental side of things in the game too. So sometimes when I feel like I'm a little overwhelmed by something in the game, I'm like, breathe in, take it easy, seize this moment. Don't think about what happened, what's gonna happen. All those things that I talk about to the girls, I try to implement in my game as well. So it definitely gives you a different perspective, and it's great, especially if you're still playing.
Well, yeah, you know, from a fundamental and a physical skill standpoint, yeah, if you're teaching move your feet to the ball, it's impossible not to be thinking about moving your feet to the ball when you're passing.
Right.
But I love the fact that you mentioned the mental side, because I feel like that's something that's really needed with our young athletes nowadays. And if you didn't play, you don't necessarily know the pressure that athlete is under. And it seems real easy on the sideline, sometimes as a parent or a fan, yeah, just side out, you know, and they don't realize how the complexities of it. So I think, you know, that kind of segues into just you as a player, how calm and cool and collective you are, and you're more of a finesse player. You know, you're not just going to come out and dominate like some of these big Russians and be 7 foot. You know, you have to be calm and cool and smooth and pass and have good ball control. So tell me, yeah, a little bit about your game on the court and what does make you different than some of the higher level players out there.
So when I was growing up the same way, I was a little bit overweight. I've never been a high jumper or anything like that. I've never been 6'8", 6'9", so I've had to overcompensate in other aspects of the games, maybe that mental side, the technical side. Some things that the taller and high leapers can't do, those are the things I have to do.
Right.
And that's what I try to talk about to the girls sometimes too. Like, we're all not gonna be 6'3" setter or a 6'9" opposite that can just put the ball away every single time, right? There's some gifted people that are able to do that. But for me, it was more about, let's handle what I can handle and try and perfect the things that are achievable for me.
Right.
So if I can be the best passer, I don't need to be 6'9", or if I can be the best server, I don't need to be 6'9". And then what I can't do that those 6'9" people can do, try and do it as best as I can.
Right.
Just do what you can with what you have. That's been my motto for my whole career. whatever I have to maximize those resources and try to get the most out of it every single time.
Right. Well, yeah, if you physically just can't come in because you have, just these genetics and you're this freak athlete, you can't just overpower people. You have to outsmart them, and you have to figure out, as I tell undersized outsides, as I'm in the same boat as you. You have to just be better in everything else. Right. Whether it's your passing, your setting, your serving, just your vision, your range with your swings, because you can't just go over the top of everybody all the time.
Hey, and sometimes teams don't necessarily need 6 studs. They may need one leader that just tells them tells them to stay composed and all those things. So make up for all those things that you can do, maybe with your motivational part or leadership aspect of things. Those are things that are very valuable that not everybody sees. Only coaches and the people that are in the game. So those have been all things that I've been learning in every single experience I've had that I think are very important, and sometimes we overlook. The communication side of things, the being a good teammate, all those things are valuable, and especially I think in the professional level are more notable as well. People start seeing those little things that maybe in high school they didn't see, because not everybody's like that focus on those things, but maybe in the professional level they're like, okay, we need all those things for us to make a good team and
to truly be the best.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like the higher level you go, everyone starts to even out a little bit physically, just their gifts, their talents, their skill sets. But what do you do to get just a little edge, whether it's team chemistry, someone who's a strong leader, mentally can keep everybody together, if you just a little better passer, maybe that bumps you over, a guy who's a bigger hitter, but doesn't have as much control. We need more ball control. We've got 3 other studs over here. Yeah. I don't need another big stud to side out. I need a guy who can pass, who can be the calm, cool, collective one when everyone's freaking out. And be that rock, and that's where, as you mentioned, as you're talking to athletes, try to get them to just be the best version of themselves they can be, for one, and reach their full potential, but for two, figure out your skill sets and what your strengths and weaknesses are, and figure out what can you build and where can you be ultra strong in that still gets you playing time and gets you maybe a leg up on your competition.
It's like business, that term differentiation. What makes you different from the rest? Mm-hmm. And as a player, you got to think, well, I'm the best passer, the best digger. Well, I have to be the best at that, so I get that advantage, like you were saying. So
yeah. Well, no, and so we've really kind of covered your career, the technical side. Let's go off the volleyball path a little bit, and let's talk about just some notable childhood accomplishments. I hear there's a spelling bee championship in there.
Yeah, it's funny because I worked at the media office at Purdue Fort Wayne, and I was working, and one day they're like, I think they asked me to spell something out, and I was pretty good at it. So I'm like, I was a spelling bee champion in 4th grade. So it's been something that's been on my Purdue Fort Wayne bio, and I always laugh at it because it's a great memory, and it's always funny because they point it out. I'm like, oh, I gotta go put this in your bio so people know. So it was fun. I learned. I've always been pretty good at writing and understanding words and knowing how to write them. So just a good memory.
Yeah, well, and you're very well spoken, and so going into business, going into sports, to be well spoken, obviously you have the intelligence, you have the work ethic that shows through your volleyball career. You can really be successful in whatever you want. But if you're not well spoken, if you have a hard time spelling, you're not going to look too intelligent in emails or in communication. So all those skill sets, I think are going to combine for you to not only have another amazing chapter with the professional career like you did in college, but I think long term, beyond in business, whether you get into club, you and I have talked quite a bit. Whether you keep participating in something with volleyball, or you just get into business. I have no doubt that you're going to be successful wherever you go. And so, wrapping up, what is something that you can share with your empowered family and the greater volleyball community? Something maybe your dad taught you, something inspirational, or kind of a mindset, that really keeps you going and striving for excellence, that you could leave with their family.
So I shared this with my girls a couple of tournaments ago. Sometimes we overlook all the resources we have, all the things we have, and with a few experiences that I've had with the national team, I've looked all over the world, how people struggle with different things, as simple as just getting a plate of food and at night or whatever, you know. And we have all those things, and we might overlook it, and sometimes we're like, oh, I don't want to go lift. Well, there's people that don't have weights to do that, or I don't want to go practice tonight, I'd rather stay at home. Well, there's people that would die to have a club like we have here in Empowered, you know, would do anything to be in the position that they're in. So my message is just enjoy what we have and really cherish everything that we have here at Empowered. I think we have every single resource we could have and extra. There's people all over the world that are playing sports without shoes, simple as that. And we have 3-4 pairs of shoes. We're definitely blessed. We have more than we need, right, to fulfill our dreams and go after them. So just exploit every single resource we have, be grateful, and appreciate what everyone does, not necessarily the resources, right, but like the things you do, the things that Ivan does. Everyone here has a role, everyone does something for the kids. And lastly, don't overlook the role of your parents. Your parents have been paying, sacrificing time, weekends, everything for you guys to be here. So I think that's something that is really big, and sometimes as kids, immature, we overlook. So yeah, that's basically my message, but just don't take anything for granted, because we don't know what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah. No, that's a great message, you know. Yeah, take advantage of all your resources and everything God has blessed you with. And yeah, never take anything for granted, because we could lose it all tomorrow. So yeah, take full advantage. And so there you have it, Empowered Family. Our 16 Elite Red coach, Mr. Pelegrin Vargas, All-American leader at IPFW, Purdue Fort Wayne, now going on to play in Greece. Going to be playing with the Puerto Rican national team. Super excited, can't say enough about this guy. Look for him, watch him. He's going to be famous. He's going to be a businessman, multi-millionaire one day. Get his autograph while you can, while he's in town. Big things. We're excited to have him a part of the Empowered family and how he's blessed us over the years working with our athletes, and will continue in the future. And so, once again, Pelegrin Vargas,
Thank you.
Amazing person, amazing volleyball player, and one day an amazing businessman.
Get that ball out of here.